Yeah, my name is Zach Neto, and you're listening to Halfway Around the Halo.
Fires the first. The Angels have no hit. The Seattle Mariners racing back to the track. Gone! Big fly for Mike Trout. There it is. Hit number 3,000 for Albert Pujols. Gone! Big fly, Ohtani shot. Waltrout leaps up, and he got it. Oh, my! Jared Reeder has no hit. The Minnesota Twins. The Angels, world champions.
Hello and welcome to Halfway Around the Halo, the LA Angels UK podcast. This is episode 10 of season 7, which is remarkable. We're continuing to produce this for you, and I'm delighted to be here with Toby Barnes once again. Toby, how are you doing?
I'm good. I feel like my mood pretty much coincides with how the Angels are doing. So, off the back of some good performances, I'm feeling good too.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, we've done a few podcasts this year, and some of them have been quite negative when the negativity has been needed. And right now, we can probably be quite positive. We'll talk about this. Firstly, I just apologise for how I sound right now. I'm very full of cold, which is not the thing you want to do when you're recording yourself, both speaking and the visual. So I apologise for how I look and how I sound. I should probably put that caveat on every single one of these episodes, potentially, but this time is even worse. But now that's aside,
That's why I'm here, right?
Well, yeah.
Just to balance out.
Oh, yeah. It's not what the listeners have been saying behind your back. Let's not get into the feedback now. When you asked for that feedback last week, I don't think you were quite expecting what we got. So moving on from that, the Halos baseball. We are recording this on the off day on the Thursday with the Halos sitting at 40-40. 500 baseball, baby. Let's go. Let's give that a round of applause. Come on. Round of applause for 500 baseball. The Angels finally got there, and we'll talk about all the day game stuff yesterday, but they won a day game. They got to 500. They swept the Red Sox. This is... Last time we did this, I think we went on that stupid losing streak and we lost 5 in a row, whatever it was, and completely negated all the positivity. But this time around, we gotta use this, right? We gotta take this momentum and start climbing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, last time we recorded, we'd just come off the back of being swept by the Orioles. And now we're recording on the back of sweeping the Red Sox. So, the AL East is a tricky division because the team that you'd expect to sweep in the Orioles, we got swept by, and then the team that you'd expect to, I don't know, probably split, we ended up sweeping the Red Sox. So it's been a really interesting week.
And in the middle of that, took 3 out of 4 from the Yankees as well.
Indeed, which means that, I think that, the Angels are doing all right. It's the first time they've been 500 since kind of the middle of May. So it's been like pretty much a full month since they were 500.
I would say, remove the Orioles situation, the AL East is our bitch right now. I mean, we went 5-1 against the Red Sox this year, didn't we? I know we got swept.
Got swept by the Yankees at Halo Stadium.
Who cares about that, right? We're in the here and now, and what a week it's been. What a week. Let's just talk about this series against the Red Sox, and then we'll jump back a bit. But it's been some really good baseball played by the Halos. Last night's victory, or I shouldn't say last night, yesterday's victory actually came in a day game. And anyone that's been reading my social media, listening to us recently, has heard us bemoan how bad we have truly been this year in day games. Going into yesterday, we were 6-17 this season, now up to the giddy heights of 7-17. But yesterday was satisfying just to go down from that early deficit from the stupid umpires to actually coming back and having the Joe show again. You got to be pleasing signs, right?
Oh, I mean, 100%. Joe Adell, can we just keep the June edition of Joe Adell permanently? I mean, I feel like it's completely unrealistic because, 6 weeks ago, we were saying he needs to go. This, we've seen enough. I can't see him improving. I can't see him just putting it all together. And he seems to have put it all together because while, yes, he has 10 home runs in June, which is incredible, he's also getting on base more. He's walked more in June, I think, than the entire rest of the season combined. He's hit more home runs, actually, than he has walked the entire season, which is just insane. And he's getting on base kind of hitting hitting the gap as well. So he just looks like a complete player right now. The defense it's Joe Adell's defense.
He's not a
You have
centre
the
fielder, though,
caveats.
is he? I think
No.
you're right. He looks better. And I
Yeah.
would say, if he continues this for another month, if we get through July and he's still hitting at this sort of clip, I will issue a formal apology to Joe. At this
When he gets traded.
people do have hot months and stuff, so I'm not prepared to go back on everything we've said so far. But I love to see it. I've always said that. I want this guy to prove me wrong. I want this guy to prove us wrong. I want him to become, like, not necessarily the superstar some people thought he would, but an above average outfielder for the Halos with power. Right, I love it. Like, keep going, Joe. He's been a massive spark plug for the middle of this lineup. He's hitting around 5 to 7 every day in the lineup. It's huge. If we're getting some of those guys on base, Joe can hit it out of there, or he can start something when it comes to him at the top of the order. So, fair play to Joe. Like, yesterday was massive again. Hits the huge home run. It does fly off his bat, doesn't it? When he connects with one, it flies. Hit that, drove in another run, same as Big Trav. It was the Trav and Joe show yesterday. Also hit the home run on the double to score.
Back to back.
Yeah, it was nice. Nothing better, I don't think, than back to back. You settle down from the excitement. Next pitch or next batter, it just goes out again. Love to see it. So yesterday's victory was really pleasing for many ways. And actually, we can't talk about it without talking about Yusei Kikuchi as well. 12 strikeouts.
Yusei Kikuchi, I say dog.
You do say dog.
You got that dog in him.
Woof, woof. Kikuchi, unbelievable. No earned runs again yesterday. Pitching at home this season, he has been lights out. Considering at the start of the season and everything we said about him when we said his record at Angel Stadium.
Atrocious.
He has really come into his own and he loves pitching. Loves pitching in the Big A.
I still, honestly, I get so nervous because he is top 5 in the league in whip, so he allows a lot of base runners through either walks or hits, but they don't seem to score. So, it's not an easy 0 earned runs, but it's effective. So yeah, it's really, really positive. Season high in strikeouts yesterday as well. He looked good in parts. He looked very good, and I'm pleased that he is doing what he's been paid to do, which is be the Angels' #1 starter. So no, he's actually he's proven to be that top of the order guy for us.
Exactly that. We are getting production of what we paid for. I think some of the stuff you're talking about with the whip, he'll clean that up. I think he is cleaning it up. I think it's just been a good pitch of the Angels. And yes, there's going to be some bad starts in there. He's not an ace, elite level guy that you can rely on every single time to turn into...
Well, you say that. Paul Skeens only went 4 innings yesterday, had 4 more runs.
I watched. What a matchup that was. But good for Kikuchi. Really, really enjoyable 1-2 punch with him and Soriano. I think the Angels are cooking a bit with that too. Let's go to the day before then. Christian Moore. What a breakout moment for that guy. I think since he's come up, he's basically been as we expected. He's struggling at the plate a bit because that's what happens. He hasn't had that long in the minors. The majors are a completely different level. Yes, he's going to need to take his knocks. Yes, he's going to struggle a bit. We've seen it all before. Usually guys come up and they get sent back down to work on a few things and come back up much improved. But the sort of team the Angels are at the moment, he has to learn on the job in the majors. And boy, did he do that. Boy, did he do that on Tuesday night. Because, as everyone knows this, Christian Moore steps up, doesn't he? Hits the tying run in the 8th. Home run. Out to left field. Loved it. Thought, you know what? That's your big moment. Respect. Goes into extras. We can see the run. Who steps up? Christian Moore again. Up second. Knocks one. Just over the yellow line. Just over the yellow line in right field. But, what a moment, right? What a dog.
The best part of that was him doing his typical triple celebration where he wags the tongue. He's like really happy that he's got the run in his 3rd, and the umpire has to tell him, he's like, no, that's a home run. Get yourself to home plate. You've hit a walk off. He had no idea because he was so focused on getting to 3rd. He was gone.
And also, did you see his comments afterwards when basically the umpire was telling him to go, but he was too scared to leave 3rd? He thought the umpire was messing with him. He didn't want to get tagged out. But honestly, we've had a few special walk-off moments this year in the still early-ish in the season or just about halfway through the season. How does that one compare, do you think, to the Joe Adell one?
I mean, I think just because of the scenario, with it being Christian Moore, I would rank that so much higher. With it being his second home run of the night as well, kind of in his first 3 career home runs, it's just an incredible moment for him as a player and for the team as well. I mean, the Angels have proven. I think that was the first occasion where they had, was it like 8 or 9 first round picks in the team altogether. It was, which is pretty obscene. As a team to have that many of your own first round picks too. So no, it's good, shows good progress for the team as a whole. I guess the only kind of downside to the victory was and is the Zach Neto injury, but hopefully it's not too severe. Do I trust anything that comes out of the Angels medical? Absolutely not. So that remains to be seen.
Yeah, fingers crossed. They said no structural damage on the MRI. We'll wait and see. As you said, we don't trust them too much. We know that these things change quite quickly. Neto says it's still quite sore, so we've just got to hope for the best because he's such a big part of the lineup. But I think what we've seen with Adell and Travis yesterday, what we saw with Christian Moore the day before is, as we've talked about all season, up and down this lineup, there are players that can contribute, players that on any given day can be the game winner. And that is something I don't think we've had for quite a long time. You've basically had like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then beyond that, it's just a black hole. You know you're not getting production. And this year, this Angels lineup is producing. Not all the time. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not consistently. The averages are still pretty low. The on base isn't great. They're still striking out a lot. But 1 to 9, whoever we've got in that lineup, on the whole, you know there's a chance of production. And I think that is why this team has improved this year. It's just having people step up to the plate.
Yeah, I mean, other than Scott Kingery, yeah, sure.
Don't forget his bunt yesterday.
Hey, the bump was supreme. But I think that
found something he can do.
Our bench infielders, unfortunately, have just been terrible. I think the Angels still need to add a utility guy who can hit the ball. I mean, Wade has kind of woken up since we berated him last week, so maybe he's a podcast listener. He's kind of woken up. He's got a couple of good hits since then. So, hopefully if we berate Kingery, he'll start picking it up too, because it looks like he might be in lineup for the next few days with Neto being day-to-day, and I'm sure the Angels will want to manage him, especially considering he had surgery on the shoulder in the off-season too. So hopefully he's not out for too long, and hopefully, like I say, the Angels manage it well enough that there is no further likelihood of injury.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, I think the guy you're actually looking at is Yohan Moncada. If you get him back in there and slotting in a third, then Rengifo can be that utility piece again, whose bat started to heat up a little.
Hey, June Rengifo, it's a thing. Like, so when the weather gets warmer, he starts to defrost, and that's it, we're okay.
You get Neto healthy again, you get Moncada healthy again, you have Moncada at third, Neto opposite short, Moore at second, Shanuel at first, with Rengifo spotting them whoever needs it. That is a very good infield with a lot of potential for the future. And that's where I'm starting to feel some optimism about this Halos team, because you are now seeing the future of this team in action, and you're all starting to see improvement. The only guy in there we haven't spoken about yet is Nolan Shanuel, who had, he's probably the Angels' best hitter this year, but had that moment, didn't he, against the Astros with the home runs, started to show some power. We knew he can get on base. We know he can hit. We know he can take a walk. If he's adding a bit of power to his game, what's the ceiling for Nolan?
See, I think this is the debate, isn't it? In terms of the young infield is very, very high potential, very young guys. So as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline, it's kind of where do they go? The Angels are stuck in traditional Angels limbo. But going to Shanuel, I think if he can become a kind of 15 to 20 home run guy with the averages and the on base that he's got, I think he's kind of pretty much will throw himself into the all-star mix perennially, I would say. And I think that's the case for guys like Neto, who arguably should be higher up the list that for the all-star voting, which it's a shame he's not, but unfortunately it is a fan vote, this kind of section of it, and the amount of apathy that there's been the last couple of years of the Angels, it's understandable why the guys aren't being voted so highly, but of his play, he is a top 3 shortstop in the AL for sure, and Shanuel's probably a top 5, I would say, based on how he's played. So yeah, I think if we can keep adding the power, he is a kind of perennial all-star talent.
Well, the Halos should be good then, really, shouldn't they? Considering these young.
We've seen what happened when we had 2 superstars for the last 5 years, though.
Now we got 7 of them. Fantastic. And one of them's not a superstar anymore. So let's talk about Mike Trout. What are you seeing right now? How are you feeling about Trout? I mean, he's on the field. He's hitting. Is that all we can ask for right now, or should we be expecting a bit more since he's come back?
Well, obviously, we want him in the outfield rather than just at the plate, for sure. But because also, if/when he gets back into the outfield, one of Darno and Ohoppe can DH, and I think Ohoppe started to warm up as well. He's looking a lot better at the plate. He's another young player who's improved massively over the last kind of pretty much since we last caught up on the podcast as well. So yeah, there's another one there. So yeah, if Trout can get back in the outfield, it gives us a little bit more potential for another bat in the lineup. So in terms of, I'm frustrated that he's not out there to kind of add the extra bat to the lineup. But what he's done at the plate, I don't think you can complain too much. I think we mentioned it. We have our UK-based Angels WhatsApp group, and I mentioned it in there. I feel like I see Trout just watching a first pitch every at bat he takes, and it's so frustrating because I would say more often than not it's a strike that he watches and he's always behind. So that's frustrating. But in terms of what he's delivered, I mean, I think he's averaging near enough 300 since he came back, which you can't complain about at all.
Yeah, the power's not really been there. I mean, the home runs have dried up quite a lot, and I think a lot of that is, you're right, his pitch selection this year has not been great. I think a lot of people questioning the eyesight, maybe. He was commenting about not being able to see the ball in the day at the Big A, that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't think he looks right. I don't think he looks like the player we've seen before, but that's to be expected, I guess. He isn't the player we've seen before, and I do think we sort of need to lower our expectations now, maybe. I still think there's another gear or two for him to go back to, but it's clearly a different player to what we've expected before. I would say he is quite disappointing. He's never had the clutch gene.
Yeah.
He's had a few occasions this week where it was just set up for him to do something special as the talisman and the leader of this team, and he just didn't. He just struck out. Or actually, to be fair, against the Astros, and he lined out really sharply, didn't he, to the centre fielder. But either way, like, the opportunity was there. The guy, in theory, you'd always say you want up in the plate in those situations. He isn't necessarily the guy that you do actually want up in those situations. For example, I think Taylor Ward this year, his record with the bases loaded, or the record with runs,
2 grand slams,
it's much better. I mean, he actually seems to make stuff happen, and Trout doesn't. And it's something we've come to expect over the course of his career, but I think it's very much more obvious now that we're not getting the otherworldly production as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of hit it on the head there. If the Angels had a game-winning situation, Trout's not who I want at the plate. On the bases running, 100%. I think he's a really, really effective base runner, as evidenced by his run scored yesterday coming round. But I wouldn't have him at the plate hitting in a clutch situation. It's unfortunate because he is one of the best hitters ever, but he can't do it in clutch situations. I would rather have somebody like Nolan Chonowell, who we know can put back the ball and get it in play.
For sure, and that was the question, wasn't it? When we didn't put Nolan up when he was on the bench and didn't put him up to take the at-bat. I understood it mainly because of the injuries, and thankfully we won the game anyway, so it didn't matter too much. But a lot of questions about Ray Montgomery, and we haven't talked about Wash yet, and get well soon to Wash. I know it's been a bit... nobody's really said quite what's going on with him, but clearly they've been quite concerned that he's not in the dugout at the moment, and although it was quite funny looking.
And he's still there. I think it's kind of confusing to me that he is still there. But as much as in the box, as much as we were completely negative about him last week, that doesn't take away from our feelings as the guy as a person. Like, I hope he gets better quickly, and I hope he's back with the team. I just don't think he's right to be the Angels manager. But that doesn't mean that I want him to not be there, kind of through medical reasons.
Yeah, of course. Get well soon, and yeah, really hope it's. I'm glad they've done right by him. Perry clearly wasn't taking any chances and has done the best thing for his health. So that's the most important thing. We've got Ray Montgomery in there at the moment. Actually, I want to ask a question about you. What he said the other day about Logan Ohoppe, and was very honest and said effectively he's not playing as much because he needs to work on his defensive side. quite a lot. And we know that. We know his defensive catching abilities have been questioned. He has been struggling. He ranks pretty far down the bottom on almost all metrics. What do you think about Montgomery coming out and saying that? And do you not think at this stage for the Halos that O'Hoppe should be working on those things in games? And actually, I think you touched on it earlier. The big problem is the fact that Mike Trout is taking up the DH spot, and O'Hoppe should be DHing on days where he's not catching.
Yeah, I think that if Mike Trout wasn't blocking the DH spot, then we'd have O'Hoppe at the plate for what he's most valuable for. He has, as you say, really struggled defensively. And I don't mind Ray Montgomery saying that because it's clear to see that he is struggling and it is something he needs to work on. And Travis d'Arnaud has proven to be effective at the plate, and we know he's a really good defensive catcher too. So if he's offering more value both sides of the plate, then I'm all for keeping him in there, especially now the Angels are a competitive team. Unfortunately, I'm sure we'll speak about it in a bit, but yeah, I mean, the Angels are competitive, so you want your best players out there or players who are playing better. There might not be a better player, but if they're playing better, if they're in better form, if they're better defensively, have them out there, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm too. I mean, I like both of them. I think Travis he was very slow starting, but he started to show his worth as that veteran guy. Logan's obviously a huge part of this future, and we need to give him every single opportunity to progress and to learn and to become. He's never going to be an elite catcher. Clearly, that's true now. But even just getting up to like league average would make such.
How quickly could he learn right field? I reckon he can learn how to play right field before Mike Trout's back in the outfield. That maybe solves the issues.
I'm not sure Mike Trout is ever going to be back in the outfield at this rate, but fingers crossed for that one. Looking ahead to the schedule, so we're 40-40 now. July looks brutal. July is always a brutal month for the Angels. We got 3 with Washington now, who have been on a free fall, so there's a lot of chances there. But then you've got Atlanta, Toronto, Texas,
Arizona, Philadelphia.
Yeah, before the All-Star game, right?
Yes.
That is going to be a real telling stretch, I think, of games.
I guess the Cardinals is the last game before. Not the Cardinals, Diamondbacks. Sorry, I was going football. The Diamondbacks are the last games before the All-Star break.
Yeah. It's going to be a telling stretch, isn't it? There's a lot of challenges in there, but I think a lot of potential for this Angels team too. They have generally this season played pretty well against good teams and have struggled against some of the lesser teams. The Nats this weekend are going to be a real test. I mean, this is a series the Angels have to win. They have to win. Not just, if they lose or whatever. It matters. If they're going to do anything this season, they need to win this. And it goes back to our point, I guess, around what you want the Angels to do. Because if they do win this series and keep the momentum going, the deadline becomes a real challenge. We know that they should be sellers regardless. But the Angels don't have that in their DNA, do they? So I think this next stretch of games is huge for the future of this franchise. And it's a really conflicting one as a fan, where I want to see them win every time and I want to see them do it all and win and be the best team they can possibly be. But I know, as we've seen in every other year, we have this debate all the time. It's really, you can't ever want them to lose. But we also know if they lose, it probably sets them up for a better future where they can get rid of these expiring contracts, bring in some more talent into the farm system, which is completely devoid of it this season. And actually, these young guys then have a better chance of being successful in the future if we supplement them later on and not this season. But that's not how the Angels really go about things, is it?
No, and it is, like I say, it's very conflicting because we want to see the Angels winning games. We've seen that they have the talent to win these games. Do they have the talent and the depth, I think, critically, to make it through to September and into October? I don't think so. You look at the farm, as you say, it's devoid of talent. I'm pretty sure I saw that the Angels, all of their minor league affiliates, have the worst records in their respective leagues, which just shows you how bad the Angels farm system is. There's a couple of players dotted about that have major league potential, but on the whole, there's not a lot there. So yeah, if they keep winning, then buying becomes a possibility, but there isn't a lot left to sell to get some useful players back, because otherwise you're getting rid of guys who genuinely have kind of very, very high potential within the Angels system, and I don't want to see them go.
Yeah.
I want them to build for the future. But as you say, Perry, is this Perry's 4th year now? He's bought at every deadline. Sometimes through kind of just sheer kind of hopium, let's call it, just optimism, and sometimes to try and convince Otani to stay and whatever, and it's just whatever reason not worked out. And the whole debacle 2 years ago of then waiving everybody to try and keep under the luxury tax was just absolutely ridiculous. So I do want them to sell, but I don't want them to lose games. And I think if the Angels are winning games, they're going to delude themselves into thinking that they can buy and they can compete, which I just generally don't think they can.
But then I can see a scenario, which you've just described, where they do neither. They
can't stand pat. They can't just do nothing.
That's exactly the scenario you've just spoken about. Is exactly what they do, because they don't have enough to buy. They don't want to sell because they think this is a decent team that can make a run at the wild card. So they just stay where they are and completely. We know they will fall off because there is not enough depth and consistency in this team to make it, in my view. I mean, this team is already doing better than I was expecting them to at this stage of the season. So fair play to them for that. But the chances of them sustaining this into a real playoff run and actually getting to the postseason are so slim. I think our playoff odds are something like 6% now. And even that to me feels high. People are complaining that the teams around us are on like 19%, 20% with the same.
There are teams with worse records that have much higher percentage chance of making it to the playoffs for sure.
As they should be, because they are better teams with more depth. Like, I get it. And this is why I'm so afraid now that we're in this position where they won't make good decisions for this franchise because they're so stuck in the here and now and the present that they don't look wider term.
I think it kind of harps back to what we were saying at the start of the season. The Angels are good enough to win like 70 plus games. They're not bad enough to sell off everything. And it's so unfortunate because I want them to be better for the future. I want them to have a consistent kind of 3, 4, 5 year run at something decent rather than just going all in for a year and hoping that they can kind of jumble something together, because they've tried it, it hasn't worked. And the problem is that they're just going to keep banging their head against a brick wall, trying to do it again, trying to break through. And it just won't happen. They like you say, they don't think even medium to long term. It's all short term. Look at their last 3, 4 first round draft picks. It's all been guys who are coming out of college who are pretty much major league ready. It's probably going to be the case again this year with a college arm by the looks of things. So they're probably going to, I would even say, make their debut this season, coming out of being drafted in a few weeks' time. So yeah, I just don't think that they're going to make any long-term moves, unfortunately.
I mean, me neither. I have zero faith in them whatsoever. You will say, though, on those college drafts, I mean, it's starting to look like they knew what they were doing, right? Zach Neto was drafted 13th and is easily one of the top 3 players in that class today. I mean, Shanuel was drafted, what was he, 10th? Something like that. He's looking really, really good right now. Christian Moore's come up, and actually we're starting so early days. I don't want to put
Sam Bachman as well. Sam Bachman.
Wow, looks
good at the pen.
Let's not push that one. I mean, he does look good, but I'm sure he'll break down very soon. There could be a case for him starting again next year, though. You could have a case where you actually get these, like, in a best case hypothetical world, Kikuchi, Soriano, Reed Detmers, and Bachman in a rotation next year. If they stretch them out again and they keep up their form that they've showed in the pen.
And Ryan Johnson.
I mean, you are looking, but genuinely looking like an actual upside rotation. But it doesn't pan out like that, and possibly like we should keep Bachman where he is and keep Detmers where he is for now, although I think he'll start again. But like, yeah, on that side of things, you're starting to build vision.
To build.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, as I say, it's so funny. We do these podcasts and we talk. We'll have a couple of weeks of optimism, and then you start to see the positive upside vision look. And then we'll have a couple of bad weeks, and then you're like, burn everything down, because actually the reality hits that this is a poorly run franchise with a terrible farm system that doesn't look to the future, with an owner that just doesn't really understand how development and baseball works. But I prefer it when we just talk about the fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Would selling and bringing back some minor league talent, would that count as fun stuff for you, or is that kind of like, oh, we're doomed?
No, I think that's sensible. I don't necessarily think it's fun, but I think at least it would show that they've got some sort of plan for how we want to take the next few years, especially if we do some trades like we did last year with the Red Sox, with those guys.
Can we fleece some teams again? Oh God,
but just guys
was cooking
are on the verge of the majors, but deeper farm systems, deeper teams that don't have the space for them. They're the type of guys we can get for cheap. If you just sell off Renhefo for a couple of these. That's what we need to be doing, because it doesn't have a huge impact on the everyday major league team now. But actually, if you're just putting that infusion of talent back into the upper minors, we become a better team and better depth.
I think the guy this year that will potentially, hopefully, net a similar package to what Luis Garcia got last year is Hunter Strickland, who's just looked really impressive out of the pen, to be honest.
He does, but I'm not buying that. I mean, he was basically cooked last year, and he's come back and he's had a very good start, but it's a small sample size. He obviously had the blow up the other day in the knee against Houston. I don't know. I'm on the fence with that one.
I mean, Luis Garcia wasn't wholly effective last year. He had his ups and downs as well. So I think the guy kind of like similar age, similar kind of set. I think he'll be the one that if the Rangers are going to sell off, it will probably be.
I hope you're right. I mean, I'm yet to be convinced that anyone would be desperate enough to take Strickland for anything other than a bag of peanuts, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, Kenley has the track record. If they're going to go for an Angels reliever on an expiring deal, he's probably the one you want.
Although did he sign a 2-year contract, Kenley? Or was he just a 1 year? I think he signed for next season as well. So I think he's controllable for another year. So, I mean, the only problem is that if Kenley goes, we're basically punted on being able to close out games.
Yeah, although
unless you turn Reed Detmers into your superstar closer.
I was going to say, Detmers probably is the guy that steps up there, doesn't he?
Yeah, it would just be... I would be so conflicted if Detmers becomes the absolute lockdown closer, because, I mean, you've seen him throw a complete 9 innings of shutout baseball.
Have I? Did anyone get a hit off him?
No, nobody did.
No?
So,
Wait,
I mean,
he threw a no-hitter and I was there?
You were there, right?
Wow. That is incredible. Yeah. I can't believe I forgot about that.
Yeah, so having seen him do that and know that the potential is there to... I'm not saying throw no-hitters consistently, but be a consistent kind of quality start guy. I wouldn't know how to feel about him being a lockdown closer, even though he has proven to be a pretty lockdown reliever for the last kind of few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want him to turn into a reliever, but
he also wants to start long-term as well. I feel like that can't be lost as well. He wants to start.
Yeah, that's where the money is for him. That's where he wants to do. Kenley is only on a 1 year, $10 million deal, by the way, so he is only expiring, so could well be punted off. Do we have a game of Halo or Hell No prepared today? Or
we do not for today. I thought 2 episodes in a row might be a bit too much, but we might open it up to the audience. Maybe you can put a tweet or 2 out and ask when we next get together for some Halo or Hell No questions, and take some from the floor.
That's true. We always want some from the floor. Although I'm still not 100% sure people grasp the game yet. I've tried it out in a few different fora, and nobody seems to quite get the Halo or Hell No bit. They've just been coming back with yes or no answers, but we'll get there.
Well, yes or no is Halo or Hell No.
It is. Kind of it's not. It's the premise, but it's not what I actually want. Because otherwise, we can just say yes or no questions. Boring. We want Halo or Hell No.
Indeed. Yeah, if you give us a yes or no, that'll be a Hell No from us.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want it. I want you to participate fully in the activities that we plan for you.
Yeah, even though today is wholly unplanned because I didn't put anything together because I think over the last week, I don't think there's enough to talk about to give us a Halo or Hell No, because I'd kind of end up trying to almost repeat myself because I tried to look towards the deadline and things, and I thought, it's a little bit... I'll tell you what, I'll give you one right now. Joe Adell keeps up the streak to July.
Hell no.
Boring. Have a bit of optimism. Your true opinion of Joe Adell comes streaming right back.
I can't back him to do it. As soon as I back him to do it, he'll fall apart again. So I'd rather just keep being negative and let him keep hitting bombs.
Honestly, I would love to see Joe Adell in the home run derby.
Yeah, me too. He's got the perfect swing for it. He's the sort of guy you want in there.
I think it would be absolutely electric, and I would. I mean, I don't normally tune in for a lot of All-Star Weekend in any sport, really. I think it's just a bit gimmicky, but if he's in it, I will 100% be tuning in.
Well, you heard it here first, MLB. If you want one more viewer, put Joe Adell in there.
Maybe I'll even have to make it out there. Who knows?
Yeah,
If Joe Adell's in it, I'll go.
I wouldn't make that promise. I'll clip that. You'll have to now. Next 3 games then, Washington series. How do you see them going? Starting tomorrow night.
I am actually very much looking forward. I love seeing when the Angels play teams from the opposite league and you get to see young players you don't actually see that often. So I'm really looking forward to seeing James Wood play because I see obviously the clips on the MLB posts and stuff, and he looks like he's a really, really good young outfielder. So I'm excited to see him play. So that'll be kind of fun to watch over the next 3 days, 3 games. I mean, if you win 2 out of 3, you're a playoff team. That's what we always say. I do think the Angels win the series. I don't think they sweep again, but I do think they win 2 out of 3.
Yeah. And who will we have on the mound for that? We'll have Soriano, Kahanowitz, and who's next in the rotation? Anderson or Hendricks?
Hendricks, I believe. Anderson pitched against the Red Sox, so it'll be Hendricks.
Yeah. So, big 3 on the mound. Kahanowitz, Hendricks back-to-back is always just a nerve.
I mean, we said it last week that it wouldn't be pretty viewing, and
It was very pretty viewing.
Hendricks had his best start. I did say that Tyler Anderson would be the good game, and that was the game that the Angels lost. So, it was Hendricks and Kahanowitz that actually pitched really well.
Well, how many wins are we getting?
Out of the next 3, 2.
Cool. I'll go for 1. Back to form.
A series that the Angels have to win at the start of this podcast, and you don't even think they will.
Correct. That sums it up, doesn't it? That's exactly why. This is a series the Angels have to win.
And I'd change my answer to the Angels are going to get swept at home against the Nationals.
Honestly, I could see it happening, but let's hope not. All right, Toby, I'm going to leave it there. We're going to go and enjoy our Thursday evenings and come back next week after the Halos have won it all. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Who knows? Either way, go Halos.
Go subscribe. Go like. Go do everything you need to do.
Leave us some Halo or Hell Knows. If you've made it this far, thanks.
Yeah, unlikely, but anyway. All the best, everyone. Go Halos.